What's up, people? Welcome to Project A. I'm Michael.
I'm Joshua.
So today we've got Ryan's bone stock 320i here. And we're embarking on an exciting mission to make this one of the fastest 320i's in the country on stock turbo. So today is our first step for Ryan's car, and Ryan's car came in used, almost 70,000 kilometers. In order to transform it into what he would really want, and what we want, of course, Joshua came up with this menu here. But why?
What we are doing now is actually a full service, a major service, including engine oil, ignition coils, spark plugs, transmission fluid, and also, of course, the transmission fluid filter. The choice of engine oil today is 300V, which is by Motul. It's a top-of-the-line engine oil with double ester core technology, and this is basically liquid gold.
Liquid gold.
Yeah, liquid gold.
Every 10,000 kilometers, we recommend to change oil. The more often you change it, the more you make sure that the oil keeps its lubrication properties properly, and of course keep the engine clean in that sense. Because the last thing that you want is an oil that is mixed with fuel, mixed with sludge, vapor, everything, and then it loses its property. Proper oil, like the synthetic oil, it basically is designed to keep optimum lubrication properties at high temperatures, oil temperatures of around 100 plus. So if you see 120 on the oil gauge, it's not exactly critical, because that's what these oils are made for.
The viscosity changes according to heat. So the hotter it is, the thinner the engine
oil
oil
gets.
is. Yeah. The life of the engine oil is also depending on the brand and the model of the oil that you choose. Stock BMW engine oils, they actually can last up to 15,000 km because they have extended range additives into that engine oil. For the 300V, we recommend an interval of 7,000 to 8,000 because this is actually a racing oil. It's one of the top-of-the-line engine oil that we have.
The best we can offer.
Yeah. BMW actually told us that we don't have to go through transmission fluid change for the entire lifetime of your car, but we don't think so.
Especially since we'll be running a transmission tune as well,
Yeah.
so we have more pressures and so on. So fresh oil is always a good thing to do.
Yeah, so we recommend around 80,000 for transmission fluid change, so that's gonna keep you in safe hands. So we are gonna take a look at Ryan's spark plugs. I mean, it's almost 70,000. It's actually due for a change as well. So
It's never changed spark plugs before?
It never.
When it comes to spark plugs, I mean, it's a general question. Number one is you need to vet a car properly. When a customer comes in and maybe he had recently acquired it used, we don't know the history of the car. Maybe it's stock now, but maybe it was tuned before. You don't know how the previous owner drove it, or you don't even know how he drives it. Yeah, so you don't know anything about the car, so you have to be very specific about your questions. When is the last service you've done? When is the last spark plugs changed? Which spark plugs are you on, if he even knows? Those are basic questions. But when it comes to the test later on, the first thing we do is we get in the car and we log the car with engine life data. We record it, we can see everything in graphs. So we can actually see, does the turbo do what we're asking it to do? Even stock, right, is a specified so-called set point, a boost that the ECU demands of the hardware. Let's say we want 1 bar. Does the turbo make 1 bar? Does it make it smoothly? Ignition and fueling. Is fueling on point according to set point? Is ignition following, or is it retarding? Retarding is when the ECU detects knock, so basically pre-detonation or unclean combustion in that sense, and it will automatically retard the actual spark. So basically when the piston travels up and you have an advanced timing, so it basically sends the ignition spark before it reaches 0. So because it takes a few milliseconds for the whole, what do you call it? The mixture?
Yeah.
The air fuel?
To blend it.
To actually react and to explode.
Yeah.
So advancing timing gives you a benefit of better power, but if you have bad fuel or bad spark plugs, then it will cause knocking. So if it retards it, when the ECU detects it, it will hold onto the spark before it actually sends it to protect the engine to not cause knock, which is usually when you see negative timing, when you see knock retardation, you already know something's not clean there. This is both what we have here. We have the spark plugs and the ignition coils. Both work together like this. So the ignition coil sends the electric current and impulses to the spark plug, which then gives the spark and that ignites your fuel. Both are wear and tear parts and both can fail. So if a car has a certain age, this is likely to be failed, even though spark plugs are changed. And spark plugs are a common wear and tear part that have to be replaced, I would say every 25 latest.
Depends on the spark plug again.
It depends on the spark plug.
Depends. A rule of thumb, probably 40-50,000.
Yeah.
40-50,000 km. So
if somebody bought a car recently used that has 60,000 kilometers on the clock, it is not given that the spark plugs have been changed before, and it's quite likely that we'll see that in the log. Take a proper look, you see this yellow, brown on the ceramic part, which means that it's leaking pressure already.
Yeah.
So the pressure from inside the combustion chamber permeates through and exits through here, which means that it doesn't keep the full compression. And that will cause misfires. We've had cases of people that came in with broken spark plugs and they just continued driving. So basically you would see that this part of the spark plug here, the isolator, just is made of ceramic, so it dropped off. The car is misfiring, they have no idea why. And you just look at a spark plug, the isolator is missing. Where does it go when it drops off? Into the combustion chamber. Then through the exhaust valves, into the turbo, out of the exhaust. If you're unlucky, some bad things can happen. Right? So these are things we cannot allow. So in order to make sure that this does not happen, we make sure the hardware is right before we touch the car. It's a very important trait of ours to be able to adapt to the situation, to the exact car. It will be a peace of mind to make sure that everything else has been taken care of. We've checked the hardware, we changed the oils, everything is fresh. There is no room for any issue. So I can happily dial it in at a better boost, with better ignition, because I know everything is clean. Always feels good if you embark on a new project and you are chasing for a good performance. Of course, you feel a lot better on my side if I know that the hardware is all perfect. Well maintained, everything's good, everything's green, so I can get going. We have absolutely provided for the perfect tuning fundament. Whatever we do here, whatever our team does, is bespoke, is customized, is made for that specific car.
That's it for today. We are done with servicing Ryan's car, which includes the engine oil filter, ATF fluids, ATF gasket and filter, spark plugs, and high-performance ignition coils. So this car is basically ready for our next step, which we'll be swapping out the OE downpipe, replacing it with our high-flow downpipes, RSV intake system, XHP tune, as well as our signature Stage 2 tuning done by Michael. I'm sure this is something that you do not want to miss. See you next episode.
Stop. What? Stop. Guys, if you enjoyed watching what he was talking about and found it informative, give us a like, and look out for the next episode.
See ya.
See ya.